Well, meanwhile, Russia and Ukraine have confirmed that new US-brokered peace talks will begin next week in Geneva. This will be the third round of negotiations this year, with no concrete results so far. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy was in Munich today, meeting other leaders on the fringes of the conference. He began Friday by joining German Defence Minister Boris Pistorius on a visit to a new German factory mass-producing drones for Ukraine's military. The plant outside Munich aims to deliver 10,000 drones by the end of the year. It's just one of a growing number of joint ventures to produce weapons and ammunition outside Ukraine, away from the threat of Russian attack.
At war with Russia, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy is no stranger to drones. But the one he's been handed at this facility in southern Germany is the first product of an unprecedented arms collaboration.
This is mine.
These are the Linzer 3.0 drones, the fruit of a new German-Ukrainian joint venture. Named Quantum Frontline Industries, it aims to deliver at least 10,000 drones to Ukraine by the end of 2026.
That's great that we have the first production, big co-production in Europe, and this is the first one. And we've got today, I think, great result. We saw real drones. It will be very helpful for, first of all, of course, for Ukrainian soldiers, for today absolutely heroic people there on the front. They give their lives. We can give them just support, but this is crucial.
The multi-purpose drones can carry loads such as bombs and grenades. Germany's defense minister said production would be expanded. The German army is also buying them.
There are spillover effects for all in the area of innovation that we want to make use of. And in the end, this profits Ukrainian defence, war power and economy, but also profits the German economy and the European defence capability.
The drone is in early stages of manufacturing at Germany's production facility. Production is also underway in Ukraine, where over 60 of the Linzer drones are already on the front lines.
Yevheniia Kravchuk is a deputy in Ukraine's parliament, where she represents President Zelenskyy's Servant of the People party. She joins us from a very noisy Munich security conference. Yevheniia, welcome back to DW. You're there with President Zelenskyy. Why are you there? What does Ukraine want from this event?
Well, I will tell you that this security conference is actually differs from other conferences where Ukrainians are represented, because I've never seen so many producers of weapons coming to the conference. Drones, different interceptors. I'm pretty sure they're having a lot of bilateral meetings in Munich with possible partners. Of course, Ukraine, we believe, is essential and crucial for security of European continent. And as we see with the very vivid position of the United States saying that Europeans have to be responsible for its own continent, I think that the role of Ukraine is becoming even more crucial. I don't know if you've discussed in your stories, but today there was an article in Wall Street Journal about NATO trainings, and Ukrainians were part of these trainings, but they were using drones. So basically, they're using the 21st century warfare, and the NATO troops were completely not ready for this, and that's how we fight for at least the last 4 years and even longer. But
right.
Of course, now the warfare had been evolving really rapidly.
OK, so you think that you have expertise that you can share with Ukraine and NATO allies. You say that Ukraine is more crucial.
I'm sure that we have.
Fair enough. You say that Ukraine is more crucial to Europe and to NATO and the United States. Isn't it more likely that you are there to make sure that Ukraine and the war against Russia's invasion does not get forgotten as the United States refocuses away from Europe and from your war?
Well, at the same time, I think it will be still the topic in the inner politics in the United States. It could be during the midterms. It could be just, with the questions to President Trump. And we do value the President Trump's administration engagement in this peace process. I don't think it would be fair to walk out of the war, because it's not just a regional conflict. It does have influence to different parts of the world, and I believe it is in the core of national security of United States as well, to make sure that Ukraine doesn't fall, and there will not be a bigger jeopardy on the European continent. We'll have another round of
push back on
meetings.
that. We'll talk about the other peace meetings, the other talks later. But let me just push back on this idea that it wouldn't be fair for the United States to walk out on Ukraine and to walk out on this war. The last couple of days, we've seen a lot of reporting that US military aid to Ukraine fell by 99% last year, leaving European countries to fill the gap. It must be evident to you that you're in the last chance saloon with this administration.
I will not, confirm about the numbers. I will also confirm that the intelligence that we still get from the United States, and indeed, it's not, just an aid. It is part of the packages that other NATO countries are paying. It's the Pearl Initiative, but also all the aid to Ukraine, all the shipments that go to Ukraine, they count into that 5% of GDP that each NATO country has to spend on the security. So it's already inside of the security of other countries, and obviously the United States will pay attention that other NATO countries are paying this 5%.
But the net difference, there is a net loss to you, isn't there? Other NATO countries are upping their spending, not immediately, but gradually, while last year, US spending was 99%. Now, given that, add that to reports last week that Volodymyr Zelenskyy was saying that the US has given Ukraine and Russia a June deadline to end this war. Is that possible? And if it's not, what then?
Again, President Zelenskyy had commented on the whatever deadlines or the dates, and it's not us which are the problem. So the problem still is on the Russian side. Ukrainians want to end the war. We never started it, so we're not the problem. So actually the challenge is to pressure Russia enough to do it this month, next month, in May, in June, in foreseeable future. So basically that's the goal, and I think President Zelenskyy will discuss that together with the leaders that are in Munich for the security conference, how we work together to make sure first that Europe is at the table, that Europe is a global player, is basically a superpower combined, because it's a mix of the middle powers. But when you come together, as Chancellor Merz said, the GDP, the economy of European Union is 10 times bigger than the economy of Russia. But at the same time, something is lacking to pressure enough Russia to stop the aggression and actually to sit at the table of negotiation with the reasonable ideas.
Let's pick up on something that Chancellor Merz said today. He said his assessment was that the old order is gone, right? So there must be a worry within your country that if the old order is gone and the new order is about Russia and the United States and China, carving out their own spheres of influence, the worry must be that Ukraine gets sacrificed, Ukraine gets given to Russia in order that the United States and China can just do their thing in their own thing. Your war is Europe's problem, not the United States. That's the message.
I don't think that maybe, at least it's my feeling, that that was the message of Chancellor Merz, that it just only United States, only China, and only Russia. Again, reminding that Russia is not strong economically, so they're not just in the same league as China and United States. They have the nukes, that's for sure, and they have the big army, that's for sure, but not in the same league for the long-term race. And I think the message was to Europeans as well to feel that European Union could be this superpower and could be among of these big countries, big players, and that's the role of Europe right now to agree on whatever rules-based order, because obviously Europe agrees that rules are needed.
Europe agrees that rules are needed, but Europe is a secondary player in this. The United States, in its security assessment released recently, it's decided that Europe is not its priority. Once again, I put to you that the United States has decided that Ukraine and the war against Russia's invasion, that's a problem that Europe must solve. Is there anything that you have seen in the actions taken by Europe that gives you confidence that Europe can fill the gap, especially given the devastating remarks that your own president made about Europe's inability to act together in this war?
Well, first of all, in the terms of the weapons, I think that in the air defense, the Patriot system is something that are not produced in Europe for sure. But many other systems are produced in Europe. Artillery, now we're opening joint production of drones together with Germany. So basically we're sharing the technologies that are being they are emerging on the battlefield, and we could do the joint production. And actually, I think that Ukraine could be, it's not a problem in this case, it's a way forward, because our production had been evolving since the 2022. Remember where we started, that Ukraine will fall in 2 weeks, and now we are one of the biggest producers of drones in the world. Right. And obviously with the financial capacities of Europe, we can do this joint security for the continent.
Let's end with by talking about these US brokered talks. Another round is supposed to be happening next week. What, if any, compromises are still possible from the Ukrainian side, given that Russia has moved not an inch so far?
Well, that's coming to the answer I was trying to explain just a few minutes ago, that we should pressure together Russia more to move these inches or meters, or however needed, to reach the progress. And of course, as President Zelenskyy mentioned for numerous times, we cannot trade territories. We cannot sort of say that it's okay, we're moving out of Ukrainian territories. And especially in remembering some deals that we had in the 90s, Budapest Memorandum, Ukrainian people need to feel that the security guarantees are really solid, are there. And there is a good way forward with security guarantees from the United States, and they should be ratified by the Senate. And it's ready, so it's ready to be ratified, and hopefully we could reach this process.
Thank you so much for talking to us. Yevheniia Kravchuk, member of the Ukrainian Parliament.
Thank you for having me.